You've been showing up, you've been posting consistently, writing captions, maybe even running some ads. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you're kind of starting to wonder if maybe you're just bad at marketing. Welcome to the Outcome Academy podcast. I'm Ginny Seeley. I'm a business strategist and longtime process improvement expert, and I also co-own an appliance service business and a co-working space with my husband, Joe. So I understand what it looks like to juggle growth, leadership, family, and big dreams all at once. If you're a service-based entrepreneur or executive who wants to stop putting out fires and work on your business and build momentum with systems, smart marketing, and practical tech, you are in exactly the right place. I'm super glad you're here today because I want to talk about something that I see often in the businesses I work with. If I asked you right this minute to tell me what your business does, what you do in your business, and the problem you solve, what would you say? Could you tell me in one clear sentence what your business does? Do you have a really clear logo for your business? Do you have a domain and a website? And do you know who your ideal customer is? Or are you one of those people that's like, my customer is anybody with money, or anybody with a house, or anybody with a kid, or anybody with a job? If your customer is anybody with a fill in the blank, then you've got some work to do, my friend. All of those things are not a marketing problem, but they're more of a foundation problem. Business owners putting real effort into their marketing, working really, really hard, showing up, posting, paying, all of those things, and almost getting nothing back in return for their investment. And it's because the thing underneath that your marketing is trying to amplify isn't really built yet. So today, we're going to go back to the very beginning. And if you've been in business for a while, I don't want you to tune me out. In fact, I want you to get rid of all of your distractions for this episode and really give me your time and attention because it is going to pay back big time for you. Especially if you've been in business for a while, I would guess that at least a couple of the things we're going to talk about today are things you haven't fully locked down because you were in a hurry to get started and make money in your business. And sometimes things just get really busy and they get carried away. And then, oops, you just never did that thing. And now it feels like it's kind of too late. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not too late. I want to challenge you to take some kind of action towards the foundational things in your business today. When you do an ad or any type of marketing, what that does is it amplifies your messaging. That's really the best way to describe it. All it does is make whatever you have louder than it is right now. So if you have a really clear message, your marketing gets that message out to more people. If your brand is really consistent and on point, your marketing is going to make that consistency more visible. But here's the flip side. And this is the part nobody likes to talk about. If your foundation isn't solid, marketing just amplifies that confusion. More posts, more noise, more ads, more of the wrong people, more content, but less traction. And the frustrating part is that you can be doing all the right marketing things. You could literally have the best website designer. You could have the best radio advertiser, the best SEO person and Google Ads person. But if they're amplifying a business that doesn't really have any type of personality or character or brand, then all of that marketing is really wasteful. Because the problem isn't that strategy piece that those people are really good at. And I'm not here to tell you not to engage with these really smart marketing people. What I am going to tell you is to take a pause, make sure that you do the things that we're going to talk about today, and then reach out to them when you're ready to amplify a really awesome message. It's about getting clear on who you are, what you do, who you serve, and all of the different offers that you can do to solve the problems for those people. So what I want to ask you today, and I want you to be super honest with yourself, do you have these 5 foundational pieces in place? Inside the Brand Builder Blueprint, which is our step-by-step program for building your business identity from the ground up, we walk through 5 core elements. Foundation number 1, a business name and domain that you actually own. That sounds so basic, right? But I can't tell you how many business owners I've met who are operating under a name that they never even looked up in the trademark database, and they don't have a website. They might have a Facebook page, but you can't build your business on rented land. If your entire online presence lives on a social media platform that you don't own, you are one algorithm change, one account hack, one platform decision away from disappearing. I've seen it happen to people, and it is so devastating and heartbreaking when that happens. Your domain is your online real estate. It belongs to you. Nobody can take it away from you as long as you keep it current. And owning your business name, going through the USPTO trademark process, at least doing the research to make sure nobody else is using it, working with an attorney, that protects the investment that you're making in building your brand. So I know several people who have a name and then they find out that somebody else is using that name. And maybe they're not going to say anything and maybe you'll be able to keep using your name, but you just don't want to take a chance of building this beautiful brand that you work years and years and years to build up your reputation, all of the things about your brand, just for somebody to come back and tell you that you can't use that name. It happened to one person really close to me recently who had to go back and change all of their online identity. And not only is it heartbreaking, but it's exhausting and time-consuming and expensive, and it's just a huge pain. And it could be avoided by doing some of this work on the front end before you even open up shop. Another friend had a name very similar to somebody else's name, so that could create some brand confusion. You just don't want to be in that situation, so it's just really good advice. When Joe and I started Cavalry Appliance Service, we sat there literally with a thesaurus for hours trying to pick the right name. Once we had it, we went straight to the USPTO site to make sure nobody else was already using it. We looked on Facebook, we looked on Google, we looked everywhere. We did our very best before we even went to an attorney to do the trademark process. So you can do things for free before you even spend a penny to make sure that that name is free and clear. Okay, so that was foundation number 1, your name and your domain. Foundation number 2 is basically a one-liner that very clearly explains what you do. This is a sentence that lives on your homepage, really everywhere. It could be on your business card. It's what you say when someone asks what you do. It's the thing that goes on your Instagram bio, every email signature. You get it. And most business owners don't have it. They have a whole paragraph. Or they're like, well, it depends on what you need because I kind of do a lot of different things. And, well, I can do this, but I can also do that. And it's just confusing. And if you're not confident about what you do when somebody asks you that question, then they're going to look at you and be like, oh, wow, that's cool. All right. But they're not going to send you any business because they don't even know how to describe you to somebody else if you can't even describe what you do to them. So your one-liner answers 3 things: who you help, what you help them do, and what the results look like. That's it. When it's right, the right person hears it and they go, huh, that's exactly what I need. Here's one that I use as an example in the Brand Builder Blueprint training. I help upscale professionals create stunning saltwater aquariums with zero hassle. Just show up and it's done. It's clear. It's specific. The person who has a beautiful attorney's office and has always wanted an aquarium but has no idea how to manage it, they hear that one-liner and they're like, where do I sign up? How do I get that person to come work for me? Your one-liner is the foundation of every piece of marketing you will ever create. If you don't have one yet, it's the first thing I want you to work on. And if you've never heard of Donald Miller and the StoryBrand framework, He's got a lot of trainings all around what he calls a soundbite, which is very similar to having a one-liner. And it doesn't actually have to be one line. It can be 1.5 or 2, but you get the point. You want to really clearly convey what you do, who you serve, and the problem that you solve for them. Foundation number 3 is your mission, vision, and values. We've talked about mission, vision, and values on this podcast before, but it's so important it bears mentioning again. It sounds corporate. I hear that all the time. Like, I don't have time for mission, vision, and values. I am not a Fortune 500 company. It sounds like the kind of thing that big companies put in their employee handbook and then nobody ever reads. But I want to push back on that a little bit because your mission, vision, and values, when they're done right, are the compass for every single decision you make in your business. At Cavalry Appliance, we read our mission and one of our values and our vision out loud at the start of every single team meeting. Every week, one of our team members leads it, and over the years, what we've seen happen is that our team starts to internalize it. We actually create a poster in Brand Builder Blueprint that you can just send to your Walgreens, your CVS, your Walmart, wherever you can print a poster. You can upload it, print it there, and frame it and hang it in your office. And it really makes a difference when people see it hanging on the wall. They start making decisions that align with your values without you having to be in the room. And that is exactly what you're trying to build. Your mission tells people why you exist. Your vision tells people where you're going. And your values tell people how you operate, what you stand for. Together, they give your team something to aim at and your customers a reason to trust you. And here's the practical reason that every business owner needs this. There are going to be decisions that are hard, not just for your team, but for you too. Like a vendor offering you a shortcut that doesn't quite feel right, a potential client who's outside your ideal, but the money is tempting, a partnership opportunity that looks really good on paper. These things are real problems that we face in business ownership. And when you have a mission, vision, and values that are documented, you have something to hold those decisions up against and ask, does this align with who we are? Is it in alignment with what we want to do, where we want to go? And I'll tell you one other way we use it at Cavalry, and that is with our team member evaluations. We have mission, vision, and values on the first page of our evaluation. And we want to see if people are living out the values in our business and even in their lives. We want people to embody, especially our value of service. So we ask our team members how they're serving other people outside of work. And we want to hear what they're doing. It doesn't have to be something earth-shattering, but literally, if they walked a dog at the shelter, or if they did something nice for somebody at church or whatever, they can do something really small, but we want to hear that they're thinking about how to serve other people because that's the kind of people we want on our team. Foundation number 4 is a specific, well-defined ideal customer. Your ideal customer is not everyone. I know you know that, but let me say it again because it's so easy to fall into the trap of wanting to serve as many people as possible that we fall into this abyss trying to serve everybody. Your ideal customer is not everyone. The more specifically you can define who you are talking to, the more powerfully your marketing will speak to them. When you try to talk to everybody, you end up resonating with no one. When you talk to exactly the right person, they feel like you're reading their mind. Think about your favorite customer, the one you absolutely love working with, the one who values what you do, the one who refers you to everyone they know. Describe them specifically, their age, their life stage, what they're dealing with, what they care about, what keeps them up at night. Picture that very specific human being and write it down, because that is who your content should be speaking to every single time. Now, I literally can think of 3 people right off the top of my head that are my favorite people to work with. And if I really want to get specific, I can think of one person that really fits that ideal customer. They embody exactly who I want to serve and the person that I can make the biggest difference for in Outcome Academy. At Cavalry, we can do the same exact thing. So I really want you to think about that. When I'm helping students in Brand Builder Blueprint build out their ideal customer profile, I ask them to think about that one person. And I ask them, what do they need to have, be, or do to even be your customer? That qualifier question is really important. It helps you stop chasing people who are never going to be the right fit and start attracting the ones who are. And I'll give you a really personal example. In Outcome Academy, our primary offer is the mastermind. We believe so passionately that every business owner should be in a mastermind group. It's really lonely being in business by yourself, trying to figure things out, solving problems, even something as simple as, how do I hire my first person? It's confusing. Well, I love serving business owners, but the people that are actually qualified to be in the mastermind program have to have at least started their business. Does that mean that I don't care about people who haven't started their business, but they're an entrepreneur at heart and they want to start a business and they know they're going to start a business one day? Absolutely not. I love those people. They're my people. They're my spirit animal. I want to help them. So what I can do is I can make sure that I have resources for them so that when they are ready or they have started their business, that I've equipped them with those foundational things to get them into the best possible spot so that when they become my client, they already speak my language and they're ready, right? And this podcast is one of the ways that I can do that for those people. This podcast speaks to my ideal client, you. But if somebody isn't quite there yet, this podcast is going to teach them the things that I'm super passionate about, and it's still going to help them get to a point where they can be my client. If somebody isn't your client yet, you can do certain things to help people along that pathway, but you want to have in mind your ideal person and what qualifies them to be your client. Of course, my content could help somebody else, but it's really, really impactful for somebody who is starting or growing service-based business. Finally, Foundation 5, a simple, consistent, visual brand. I want to be super clear here because I've seen people get really derailed by this one. Your visual brand does not need to be perfect. You do not need to spend thousands of dollars on a custom logo before you can start showing up. That is not what I'm talking about. In fact, I'm sure there are plenty of marketing gurus who would disagree with me and tell you that you need to invest all of that thousands of dollars into your logo. I'm not against investing money in a custom logo. I'm not against investing in billboards or wraps or anything else that is for later in your business. But when you're starting, you do not need to spend $20,000 on just your branding before you even have your first customer. What you need is something simple, consistent, and professional enough that when someone finds you on Instagram and then they visit your website and then they open an email from you, it all looks like it came from the same place. Your brand kit is 3 things: your logo, your colors, and your fonts. That's it. Once you have those 3 things documented in Canva, and this is something we set up completely inside Brand Builder Blueprint, it's one of my favorite lessons to teach. Every single piece of content you create from that point forward is going to look cohesive and professional without you having to reinvent it every single time. Here's what I tell everyone. Simple wins every time. The biggest brands in the world have the simplest logos. Think about Target. Think about Nike. Think about Starbucks. Pick something clean, get it documented, and keep moving. Do not let logo perfectionism be the reason that your marketing never gets off the ground. You can always upgrade your logo later, but get started, be consistent, and make it look like the personality of your brand from the beginning. Okay, so let me paint you a couple of pictures. Picture this first business owner. She's a health coach. She's been in practice for 3 years. She posts on social media several times a week. She has a newsletter that goes out inconsistently. She's tried a couple Facebook ad campaigns, and every month she feels like she's starting over. Some months are okay, some months are really slow, and she can never quite figure out why. She tells people she helps women with their health and wellness journey, but when she's talking to a prospective client, the conversation goes in 15 different directions, depending on what that person seems interested in. Her logo is different on her website than it is on her Instagram because she redesigned it but never updated everything. And deep down, she's starting to wonder if she's in the right industry at all. Now, picture the second business owner. She's also a health coach. She works specifically with women in their 40s who are navigating perimenopause and want to feel like themselves again. She can say that in one sentence, and she does. On her website, in her bio, in every single conversation. Her brand colors are warm and grounding. They are the same everywhere she shows up. She has a mission that says something clear about why she does this work, and it shows in every piece of content she creates. She knows exactly who her ideal client is because she used to be her. And when she posts about a specific symptom or struggle, women in her audience share it and tag their friends because they feel like she's talking directly to them. Same industry, radically different experience of running the business. The difference isn't talent and it's not effort, it's foundation. This is something I've seen play out again and again. When these 5 pieces are in place, everything gets easier. Not easy, let's be honest, building a business is never easy, but easier. Your content takes less time because you always know what you're talking about and who you're talking to. Your website does more work because the message is clear. Your networking feels really natural because you can describe what you do with confidence. And referrals start coming in more consistently because the people in your network actually understand who to send your way. And here's the piece I really, really want you to sit with. Marketing. All of it. The social posts, the email list, the Google business profile, the blog content, all of it is a compound investment. The more consistently you show up with a clear message and a consistent brand, the more it builds over time. But if the message is muddy or the brand looks different everywhere, you can't compound anything. You're just creating noise. And it's really sad if you're spending money to create that noise. That's why we built the Brand Builder Blueprint before Compound Marketing Machine, because without that foundation in place, the marketing machine doesn't have anything solid to run on. A lot of business owners think of their branding and their foundational work as something they do once at the very beginning and then they check it off their list. But the truth is, this is living, breathing work. Your business grows and changes. Your ideal customer might shift as you get more experience. Your services might evolve. Your mission should be revisited at least once a year to make sure it still reflects what you're doing. We do this every summer at our own planning retreat. Joe and I sit down, we look at Cavalry Appliance's mission, vision, and values, and we ask ourselves, does this still fit? Have we added services that aren't reflected here? Have we moved in a direction that deserves to be called out? It takes a couple hours, and it's one of the most valuable things we do all year. So if you're listening to this and thinking, I did all this 3 years ago, I'm good, I would gently push back on that. Go back, look at it. Read your one-liner out loud. Does it still describe exactly what you do and who you serve? Look at your mission. Does it still resonate? And if you're listening to this thinking, I've never done any of this, and now I feel overwhelmed, take a breath. You don't have to do all 5 things by tomorrow, but I would encourage you to start with the one-liner because everything else kind of connects to that. When you can describe what you do with clarity, the rest starts to come into focus. You've built something worth talking about, but the world can only understand what you're offering if you understand it first, and then you communicate it clearly. That's what this foundational work does. It gives you the clarity to show up with confidence, not just in your marketing, but in every single conversation about your business, every proposal, and every introduction. That's what it feels like to be at a higher altitude. Not just working harder, but working from a place where everything you're doing has a clear direction underneath of it. So here's what I want you to do this week. Take an honest look at those 5 foundations Not a critical look, a curious one. Where are you solid? Where's the gap? Just knowing where the gap is puts you ahead of most business owners out there because most people never even stop to ask the question. If you want to work through all 5 of these in a structured way with tools, custom AI resources, and step-by-step guidance, the Brand Builder Blueprint is built exactly for that. You can find it at outcomeacademy.com, and it's a great place to start if you're building from the ground up. But it's also worth revisiting even if you've been in business for years. I'll see you in the next episode. Thanks again for being here. I'm super grateful that you're here. And I wish that this is the biggest blessing to you and that it has an aha moment for you and a reset in your business that is super valuable. Cheers. As you think about this week, notice where this shows up in your own business. If you want to go deeper into this work, including the mastermind and other ways we support service-based business owners, you can explore everything at outcomeacademy.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.